So now let's take a look at how to properly rig up your big game arrows or crossbow bolts to your big game system. Now, this system will work the same as with the crossbow bolt. I'm just using a big game arrow right now. So the first thing you'll notice is on the big game arrows, the point is not a breakaway anymore. The point does not come off. The big game points are now permanently pinned on. Okay? Beneath that point, there's no rubber collar anymore. Alright? You don't have to lift that collar up to put that line underneath there. We just made it a lot more simple. We removed that to make the job, like I said, more simple. Now, on the crossbow bolts and the big game arrows, we use the ring system. Do not use the AMS Everglide safety slides that are attached to the line when you get it. You can just cut that off and set it to the side. All of our big game arrows and bolts have the rings on them. Alright? So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to take the line from our big game reel, and we're going to take that line and go between that ring and the arrow. Alright? So just kind of like this here. Alright? Now the next thing you want to do is, I like to take that set screw and take it all the way back here to the ring and the set screw where they meet back here. And then I'm going to pull out line up to my big game point. And then I'm going to go about another 6-7 inches past that. And now we're going to make a large loop and connect that ring with our line. And right there you can see we just attached our line to the ring. Alright? Now what we're going to do is we're going to make a large loop knot with the end of the line here, and we're going to attach that right directly to the big game point. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that line, you're going to double it up 6-7 inches. And I'm going to take that line, I'm going to go around my finger. And I'm going to pull that line back off my finger and create another loop right here. I'm going to take this top loop here and go through the loop that I pulled off my finger. And I'm going to kind of walk that knot down a little bit. It just makes it easier to get over top of that big game point. And right there you can see we've got a nice large loop knot. Alright. Now, on the big game points, we have a hole drilled through the center of the body. That's where we're going to slide that line through there on that loop knot that we just created. It's a little bit easier to do if you take that top of that loop here and you kind of pinch that line together. Just make it as small as you can. And now we're going to take that line and go through that hole on our big game point. Once it comes through, we can go ahead and grab it. And now we're going to open up that loop. Alright, we're going to go over top of the tip, over top of the barbs. And then once you pull that line tight, you can see how nicely that your line is attached right directly to that point. Very important, because if this gator happens to break your arrow, your line is still attached to that point. This point is going to be underneath that gator's hide. And tell you what, once it gets behind there, it's in there. The gator that I shot 2 years ago, I only penetrated that gator, 3 inches. And one shot was behind the shoulder, the other shot was on the opposite side. And when we got that gator in the boat and we were trying to take the points out, we were pulling on those arrows trying to get that out. It wasn't happening. We had to take a knife to get these points back out of that gator's hide. So now our next thing is, you notice here that once I have everything tight to my point, and then where my ring is here is it's kind of like in the middle of my arrow. I want that ring to be back here by that set screw. The reason being is you're going to get a lot better arrow flight, because we want this line here to be tailing behind the nock. You can see here it'd be tailing like in the halfway down the arrow shaft here, and you're not going to get as good as arrow flight. So what you can do is you can kind of loosen up this little knot around that you have around your ring, and you can kind of walk that down towards the back and get it down there, and then snug it back up. Now you can see I'm going to have a lot better arrow flight with that line tailing behind the nock versus halfway down the arrow. Now we recommend what we prefer to use, and we've learned that the simplicity and benefits of a standard big game arrow outweigh those of the breakaways when going for big game. From all of us at AMS Bowfishing, best of luck on your big game bowfishing adventures. For more information, check us out at amsbowfishing.com.